We're back with more on the fallout over Will Mitt Romney's NAACP speech. Last night I mentioned he wanted to get booed in front of that crowd. And hours later, he confirmed it. In Montana, he told donors, quote, "I hope people understand this. Your friends who like Obamacare, you remind them of this. If they want more stuff from the government, tell them to go vote for the other guy. More free stuff. But don't forget, nothing is really free." Free stuff. You mean stuff for common people like food stamps, stuff like health care, stuff like student loans. This comment cuts to the core of who Mitt Romney really is. Mr. 1%, Mr. VIP, the great Mittsby. And we've heard this before.
You know what would make me happy? Free birth control.
If you're looking for free stuff, you don't have to pay for, vote for the other guy. That's what he's all about, okay? That's not what I'm about.
We've always encouraged young people, take a shot, go for it. Take a risk, get the education, borrow money if you have to from your parents, start a business.
I'm not going to be promising you all sorts of free stuff. It doesn't take a leader to promise giveaways. It takes a leader to ask for sacrifice and to live lead.
But sometimes Willie just loves free stuffs, like millions for defense, like huge tax breaks for big oil, and that Paul Ryan budget plan that takes millions from the poor for a giveaway to the rich. Joining me now is Joe Madison, nationally syndicated radio host of Mornings with Madison, and Nero Tandem, president of the Center for American Progress. Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you, Reverend.
Joe, what message is he sending with this free stuff comment hours after that speech?
That poor people, the working poor, are shiftless, lazy, beggars, not the people who work like in Houston, Texas, where maybe he should have stopped off and met with the janitors that clean 90 bathrooms in a 5-hour period and only get paid $8 and some cents an hour. And J.P. Morgan only wants to give them 50 cents extra hour over a 10-year period. That's who he's talking about. Then, of course, if we bring this up on our side, it's class warfare. But what they forget, Reverend Sharpton, is that many people, whether it's Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, many of these programs, we've paid taxes.
Yeah.
We've paid into these programs. And, gee, how about Wall Street and the free money they got at the end of the Bush administration?
Well, let me go to you, Nero, because Think Progress crunched the numbers on Romney's tax plan and found it would raise taxes for more than 2 million African-American working families since he was at the NAACP, while giving tax of $250,000 tax cuts to millionaires. So we're talking about giveaways. We're going to give to the rich and take from the poor, and then accuse the poor on top of that of wanting free stuff and giveaways.
I mean, I just want to agree with Joe Madison about this. I mean, I think the question is, who does this government work for? And each time that question has been posed to Mitt Romney, it's clear whether it's his fundraiser at the Hamptons last week or his fundraiser today with Dick Cheney or his actual policies that matter most, he believes the government should work for the wealthiest and well-established and people who are connected in the political process. I mean, the fact is that his policies are actually worse than the Bush administration. He's calling for a 20% across-the-board tax cut that would provide millions upon millions of tax breaks to the people who have done the best in this economy, the wealthiest, well-connected, and not any support. In fact, as you noted, Think Progress, who's part of the Center for American Progress, found out that it was $2 million, 2.2 million people who would be affected, African-American people who'd be affected by a tax increase by Mitt Romney. And so I think the issue
While
is really—
While he's giving a tax cut to millionaires.
And I think the issue is here, who does he stand with? Middle-class folks, people are struggling, people who are the backbone of this economy, who actually provide, who are the reasons why we have growth, or the wealthiest Americans. And in this economy, the wealthiest Americans don't need a hand up. They don't need help. They don't need support. They don't need more corporate tax breaks. Right. They need to be part of a fair share. They need more responsibility. And that's why it's so important that the president this week talked about fair taxes, taxes where everyone pays their fair share. And that is a huge difference between Mitt Romney and President Obama.
Now, Joe, Rush Limbaugh says Romney was booed because he was white. Listen to this.
Obama's DePreezy. He's confident they'll boo Romney simply because Romney's white. He's confident of that. So Romney takes advantage of the occasion. He goes there and makes a speech that is really, I think, over these people's heads in the sense that his audience was much larger than just inside the convention.
Now, I want your response to that, but three things that I get from this. One, he was booed because he was white, so I guess Joe Biden and other speakers are not white. Second, that he was talking over their heads, whatever that means, and talking to a wide audience, which may mean that Rush and I agree for once that he really wasn't there to talk to those people. He was really there to use them as a backboard to talk to some other people, Joe.
Well, we're right on three. I'm with you on that one. That speech was not written for that audience or the intended audience that the NAACP leadership represents. You know, I served on that board for 14 years. I've watched Ronald Reagan come through there. I've watched both Bushes come through there. I've watched Dukakis come through there, Clinton come through there. They've been applauded. Ross Perot was even taken down in Nashville. But here's what's so crazy about what he said. When he was introduced, he was white when he walked across the stage and got applause. He was white when he finished and supposedly got a standing ovation. But you know what really bothers me, and that is how hypocritical the other side is. Nobody yesterday or today accused Rush Limbaugh of playing the race card. Right. If that had been the two of us on our radio show or your TV show also, we would have gotten emails, Facebook comments, tweets, and everything else saying we were playing the race card. This man not only plays the race card, he sits there and shuffles the deck and then tries to somehow suggest that the speech was over everybody's head, not recognizing that these are intelligent leaders in the communities. These aren't just delegates who are coming there for a vacation. These people represent communities across this country. They're leaders, they're ministers, they're educated, and once again, it's Rush Limbaugh at his worst, playing the race card. And you know what? I'm glad he said it, but here's the other final thing. Not one Republican leader has denounced, once again, anything that Limbaugh said.
Nira, let me ask you this. Romney himself went on Fox after the speech, and he said he expected to get booed. Let me let you hear what he said.
I think we expected that, of course. But, you know, I'm going to give the same message to the NAACP that I give across the country, which is that Obamacare is killing jobs. And if jobs is the priority, then we're going to have to replace Obamacare. I spoke with a number of African-American leaders after the event, and they said, you know, a lot of folks don't want to say they're not going to be voting for Barack Obama, but they're disappointed in his lack of policies to improve our schools, disappointed in urban policy, disappointed in the economy.
Now, Nira, he said that he expected to get booed. He went in and attacked the president's Affordable Care Act, calling it Obamacare. I mean, he really baited to get booed and said they expected it going in. People like me think that was part of the strategy.
Well, look, I mean, to attack Obamacare, which, and use that term is very loaded, but obviously the Affordable Care Act is going to ensure that millions of Americans who happen to be white, who happen to be black, who happen to be Latino, who happen to be Asian, are going to have affordable care. And the irony of this entire system is that, or this entire discussion, is that Mitt Romney has turned himself into a pretzel on the issue of health care. He was supportive of health care when he was, he was supportive of this plan when he was governor in a progressive state, Massachusetts, and now He has turned himself as the largest opponent of the Affordable Care Act, even though it's the same thing he proposed.
And it was based on the same premise. I'm going to have to leave it there.
Same exact plan. And I just think this is a level of cynicism to just turn on everything you believe in order to win an election.
Okay, cynicism or opportunism, but we'll see. Joe, Neera, thank you, both of you for your time. Coming up, Vice President Biden fired up the NAACP crowd today, talking about the fight for the heart and soul of America. And something is happening tonight at Dick Cheney's house in Wyoming that's never happened before, and it involves Mitt Romney.